Hello everybody. Gonna be cleaning my tanks today. A lot of people do complain to me about their beasts, and there are several others as well, tank versions that do tend to leak a lot. And I found that early on that if you maintenance your tank and clean it every time you change your coil out, then you definitely minimize how much leakage you get. Obviously, you can't help it if you overfill it or you get sloppy and end up with some down here and then you end up with it leaking down the bottom over by where the air vents are. That's kind of just, user error. However, you can help your gaskets from leaking too much if you actually just spend a little extra time cleaning things. So today, we're going to start with my beast. I also actually have a Cleto that I'm going to be cleaning out. Cleto is made by Aspire. This one right here. I haven't actually done this before. The last time I just threw the coil in, which is hearsay in my house. That's blasphemy. But I actually am going to take some time and clean this one today. It's a little beat to hell and it's been frozen and beat up. But anyways, so obviously, that classic problem where you fill the tank and then it immediately burns the coil and you're like, oh, well, that was useful. So I always use one of these handy dandy little ramekins and I just dump that bad boy out. I disassemble everything. I pull the glass off, and then I take the mouthpiece off, and I make sure the sucker's open so you can clean that gasket as well. And then we pull the coil off, and we're actually going to just stick that aside on a convenient piece of paper towel. And there you go. Now, in this bowl, I actually have some really warm water. And I'm going to take every piece and I'm just going to drop it in there. And then it's going to sit in there. And you'll get to look at it. And then I usually just kind of rinse everything off a little bit. You can see I'm kind of really messy with mine and they get a little bit of buildup real quickly. So kind of just rinse those around. And then obviously kind of pick up each piece at a time. And then you grab a paper towel for the glass. I find that a rag works just as fine, except you're more likely to leave little particles inside the glass, such as fabric, little pieces of threads and stuff. So I prefer to use paper towels, and it comes out just as clean. And then we're going to put that right there. And we're going to grab another piece. I'm going to leave half the paper towel dry so I can clean the Cleto too. I'm just going to kind of wipe down every piece. You don't have to get too crazy because then we'll get to the next step. I'm going to make sure this is open. There you go. Okay, and final piece. I'm going to make sure you get all those little crevices so you can do kind of a pre-cleaning on it. But you can't always get every good part. So then after you dry it off decently, especially for this part here, what I do is I actually use a Q-tip. You're only going to need one really. And I really wipe down all those little spots. Like that one's a really notorious one for getting buildup. Kind of go over the gasket. And then I'll go down, kind of swab around in there a bit. Makes a fun noise. And if you can see, I've got some build-up. Pardon my thumb on the camera. I'm really doing a sloppy job. Of course, mind you, it's actually like 4 o'clock in the morning. I have to go for a road trip soon, and I have to change my coil out. So I figured this would be an opportune time to show you guys what I do. So there you go. I pretty much got all that out. And this swab's actually relatively clean, so I'm going to go ahead and take care of the mouthpiece. Because I'm kind of sort of a neat freak like that. There you go. Just kind of wipe everything down, go around the gasket. Go around the gasket. Oh, no! Again, it's 4 o'clock in the morning. I have no clue what I'm doing right now. So, then of course, we get our clean coil in comparison to our dirty old coil. Yeah, I kind of use and abuse mine. That one was really ready to go. And then we take the clean one and we put it in, for those that don't know how to install a coil. And then I'm just going to get some no-name juice over here. And we're going to prime the coil, which I am a stiffler for. So then we're going to take this bad boy and I'll drip it on there. It depends on what kind of coil you're using, because certain, like the Beast has like 4 different kinds of coils you can purchase for it right now. I just use the, I call it the single, but people say it's the TFV8 or whatever it is. I'm really bad with names when it comes to numbers. You throw letters and numbers in there and I'm terrible. It's the same thing with cars. Like BMWs, forget it. I have no clue what I'm talking about because they don't have any legitimate names for anything. There you go. I'm going to drop it probably about 15 more times before we're through. So I usually use about a single dropper. That's usually rule of thumb onto how much juice you need to properly prime your coil. I'm sorry, my voice is kind of crappy today. Everybody's all cruddy with colds and stuff and pollen and allergies, and I woke up and then I did things. So here we go. We're just going to kind of rotate it around. Can't always do this for all of them. There's a different method to priming each different kind of coil. And I actually have a different coil with 6 wires in it, or whatever you want to call them. Yeah, 6 coils. I'll probably be using that one for a demonstration later on when I decide to change my coil again. So, well, that's pretty good. That's good for me anyways. We're happy with that because that's going to have to sit for a minute anyway. So then we take the glass and we properly seat it back on there. Boop. And of course, obviously, you know, because it's free floating glass, there's really not much you can do. Obviously, you want to kind of double check all of your gaskets, make sure everything's looking good. And then we're going to close this up. It's really hard to do one-handed. And then we're going to slide that back on there, make sure it's not cross-threaded, which is something I'm really good at doing. And then you're just going to pop that back on there, make sure you check all your threads, and then you stick your mouthpiece back on, and you finish filling your tank. So for time purposes, we're just going to go ahead and do the Cleto real quick instead of fill my tank up. Cleto's neat. It definitely, I was complaining about it a video or 2 ago because it's lower wattage. However, I do like that it is, as most Aspire tanks are, super easy to fill. It's really easy to get a hold of and, you know, just pull it and twist it. So then you just start sticking stuff in the water. Obviously, we're going to, this one's more difficult because, again, this one ended up in a trunk all winter and got frozen and abused, so the gasket's a little worn. I'm going to take this sucker off and stick that in there. It's no different than cleaning the Beast, I guess. Water's a little bit colder now, but oh well. And we're going to do the same thing we did before, where we're just going to take the glass and clean it. And then we'll take another piece and we'll clean that. Make sure that rush is open. Boo, boo, doo, doo, doo. Need my own elevator music here. Alright, there we go. Glass. Yeah, glass lid. See, yeah, this is what I'm talking about. That actually got closed in a trunk at one point. That not only got kept in the trunk, but it got closed on. A trunk got closed on it. So there's actually a little bit of a dent in it. However, this one still works great. It doesn't actually cause any issues. It doesn't cause any leakage. And it's a great backup tank to have if you're expecting to run out of coils and not have any, or if you have a lot of friends come over and then their coil burns out. And yeah, I just like to have a spare coil around. I mean, yeah, coil. Wow. I like to have a spare tank around. This is terrible and I can't redo it. So sorry guys, this is probably like dropping stuff left and right. I swear to God, I'm just tired. Okay. So then we're going to take the clean new coil and we're going to pop that bad boy right in there because it's so much easier to prime if you just have it already in that base part, comfortably seated. And then we're going to shake up some juice. Again, I'm just going to put some no-name product in there. I mean, granted, I know what's in these bottles, but for namesake, I just kind of threw them in empty ones, mostly for storage purposes. Some of these came in really large unicorn bottles, or they had, you know, bottles that there was no reason to have that little juice. sitting in that big of a bottle. So I condense into empty bottles I keep floating around. So, and I'm also notorious for if a bottle doesn't come with a dropper, I'll swap it over to a bottle that does have a dropper. So I'm just running around here, and I'm dropping little bits of juice onto the filter parts that stick out. There you go. And then I go down in there and I get that cotton as well, and I just kind of slowly let go. Oh, I told you I was going to drop it again. Kind of slowly just squeegee in there while I let it kind of drop down. And then I go back around, and I go back around, and I go back around. And I'm not going to really go crazy with this one because I actually plan on letting this sit. I'm not using it anytime soon, so I'm just going to fill it and be done with it. So then we're going to seat the glass back on it. And, you know, because I've already got the top off, and that's how we fill the tank, we're just going to go ahead and put a little extra juice in here, because again, I don't plan on using this one anytime soon. People do come use it, and I don't want to overfill it with juice that somebody might not want to use. And there you go. So there's one tank, there's two tank. Oh, there's another open bottle of juice I'm gonna spill. And there you have it. That is how I clean my